Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. A fantastic show ahead. I know, of course, you know that already. But let me tell you what's on the show. We're going to be talking about caregivers, the impact the pandemic has had on caregivers. We're going to give you some great decor ideas and some fashion and beauty tips. But we start with, some fabulous food. Oh my goodness, I'm just looking at it right now. Charmaine Broughton joins us on the show, food specialist and cookbook author. Welcome to the show, Charmaine. Great to see you again.
Great to see you as well. Thank you so much for having me. And I get to share one of my very favorite topics, holiday gifts, homemade holiday gifts from the kitchen.
I love it. And there you actually have a chapter dedicated to this in your new cookbook, right, Charmaine?
I certainly do. So I'll give you a little backstory.
Okay.
When my kids were young and they were in lots of sports and, in elementary school, we didn't have a lot of extra money. So come Christmas time, when we had to buy for teachers and coaches and so on, I had to get my kids into the kitchen. We went through the pantry and we made homemade gifts because I didn't have a lot of extra money for store-bought things.
Okay.
And the teachers and the coaches and friends and family, they just loved what we recreated from scratch. And now it's become a tradition. My kids are now in university. And I dedicated a whole chapter of my book to this topic that just means so much to me. Hopefully it will mean so much.
Absolutely. For sure it will mean so much to everybody watching right now. But I have to dive into some of these. What do you have in front of you here? Let's start on your left. What have you got there?
Absolutely. So these are my double-decker gingerbread fudge.
Oh my
and
gosh.
The real beauty of all of these recipes is they use pantry staple items. So they're things likely the viewers will already have at home, especially if they've maybe bought some ingredients for holiday baking anyhow. So these are absolutely amazing. They present so beautifully. And really, with this recipe, all you're going to do is just melt down some bittersweet chocolate with some sweet condensed milk over a double boiler. Pour that into an 8-inch square baking pan. Let it chill. Then you're going to do the second layer, which is the gingerbread layer, some white chocolate with sweetened condensed milk, and then some of those amazing gingerbread spices that I'm sure you all have, cinnamon and ginger and nutmeg and a pinch of allspice and cloves. Spread it out on top just like the picture there. Let it chill, and ta-da, you've got a beautiful sweet treat from the kitchen that whoever you are giving it to will think that you've spent hours in the kitchen.
That's like that is like eating the holidays. I mean, just everything you mentioned right there, especially the spices. It's like eating Christmas. I love the idea. It looks absolutely delicious.
It really is. And actually, what you can do just to give it a little bit more holiday pizzazz is you can pick up some edible glitter. You can just get this in the baking section of your local grocery store and just spray the edible glitter on top of your baked goods. You can even put some on your cheeks before you're going out to a party.
Well, Katrina Turnbull's coming up next after you with some great beauty tips. Maybe this is something in her arsenal for all I know. Let's move on to the next one.
Or I start a new trend.
Exactly. You've got some vanilla sugar here. Tell me about vanilla sugar.
I do. So it doesn't get much easier than this. And I will tell you, parents, take advantage of this. Go out to your recycling and grab all those spaghetti jars or tahini jars or olive jars. Scrub them really well. Fill them up with sugar. So what I used to do when my kids were young is I would have about 6 of these ready to go. Fill them up with granulated sugar. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a vanilla bean, readily available at your grocery store or bulk food stores. And then what I like to do is cut the vanilla bean in like little 1-inch pieces.
Okay.
And you're going to put each piece of vanilla bean into the jar of sugar like this. And then what I like to do to wrap it up is I just keep it simple. I just take holiday cocktail napkins, put it on top with a nice little piece of like burlap tie. All right, I've got one done here. And within about 24 hours, the sugar has taken on the flavor of the vanilla. So, you know, whoever you're gifting it to, they can stir it into their coffee, their tea, they can use it for baking. It's just such a lovely, practical gift from the kitchen. And like I said, have them all ready to go. So if you're running out the door and you're like, oh, I forgot to get so-and-so a gift or whatever, they're all ready to go.
Yeah, great idea. I love it. Now, next up, it looks like you have some type of bark there, which is a holiday favorite for so many people. Describe what this is.
So this is my peanut, dried fruit, and rosemary bark. So I suggest if you have a real foodie in your life who loves rich, bold flavors, this is a fantastic gift from the kitchen for them. So I take some good quality dark chocolate, some peanuts, and some dried fruit, and chopped fresh rosemary, and a little hint of cayenne. And you're probably thinking, wow, all those flavors, but they really work fabulous together. So you're going to mix together your dry ingredients, like I'm doing here. So I've got the peanuts, the dried fruit, the rosemary, little hint of cayenne. Stir that all together.
Okay.
And then you're going to measure out a little bit of the dried ingredients. With the remaining ingredients, you're going to stir it with the chocolate, pour it onto the baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. Parchment paper will be your best friend this holiday season, folks.
Yeah.
And then with the remaining dried ingredients that you have off to the side, just sprinkle that on top of the melted chocolate, and ta-da, you've got this gorgeous bark. And then I do a sprinkle of sea salt, because I find that you could do sea salt or Himalayan sea salt.
Okay.
The salt and the dark chocolate work really well together. And then you just break it up into pieces, and you've got this amazing bark. And the heat of the cayenne and the richness of the rosemary, the creaminess of the peanuts, and the sweetness of the dried fruit, honestly, whoever you are gifting it to, it will be like a party in their mouth. They will be so happy that you rolled up your sleeves and got a little bit messy in the kitchen to recreate a gift, a homemade edible gift.
Oh, my goodness. It looks absolutely delicious. Charmaine, always a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
My absolute pleasure, and happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, Charmaine. Hey, speaking of holidays, how about some glitz and glam for the holidays? We'll be back with a little of that right after this.